Welcome to AI-deas. We're part of the Good Business Podcast, which is hosted by the PHINMA-DLSU Center for Business and Society. Their mission, as always, is business as a force for good. And just so you know, you're listening to an AI-generated deep dive. We put this together using Notebook LM. Today, we're really digging into an insightful article. It's from the Managing for Society column in the Manila Times. The title we're exploring today is Rethinking AI Readiness of Students. And it tackles a huge question, really. AI is changing education so fast, but are the students actually ready? I mean, truly ready for this big shift? Or are we maybe missing something important here?
That's such a critical point. You see this globally, this real ambition, this excitement to get AI into schools and universities. And the Philippines is right there, too. The potential seems massive, right? Better curricula, personalized learning, new ways to assess students. But, beneath all that buzz, there are these, pretty significant challenges, things we really need to face if this whole AI transformation is actually going to stick. It's about making the vision a reality, basically.
Okay, so we have this big vision for AI, but what does the article say about the actual groundwork? What's happening on the ground in the Philippines? Is it being laid properly?
Well, the article does give credit where it's due. It points to some really proactive steps from the government. They've got the National AI Roadmap out, and they've set up the National Center for AI Research, that's NCAI. So these moves definitely show a long-term view. They're talking about embracing AI to future-proof the education system. Look pretty solid on paper, like a strong policy push.
That sounds really good, actually. Like we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing, like most things, it's not quite that straightforward.
Exactly. And that's where the article brings in some, let's say, necessary nuance. It's interesting because, those initiatives sound great, but the article highlights these big systemic hurdles running alongside them. Even with those government steps, the World Economic Forum ranks the Philippines, pretty low on digital skills readiness. And that's not just a small bump in the road. It points to something more fundamental. We need to tackle some really basic gaps, digital literacy, the actual infrastructure needed before AI can even take off properly. And it's not just about the tech itself. The article stresses that a lot of institutions, they're still kind of clinging to traditional learning models. If you don't genuinely update how teaching happens, the policies around it, AI just can't reach its potential. And if you think bigger picture, sorting this out is key, not just for AI, but for hitting those SDG 4 targets, Sustainable Development Goal 4. Yeah. Especially the bits about quality and, crucially, relevance of education in this digital age, making sure it actually prepares students,
That makes total sense. It's like having this amazing sports car, but you still need the roads and people need driving lessons first. And I guess that leads us right into the core research in this article. The authors saw this gap, right? Not much solid research on AI readiness for university students here, so they decided to jump in. What were they specifically trying to figure out?
Yeah, they wanted to look closely at the behavioral, perceptual, and contextual factors. Basically, what influences students to accept and actually use tools like ChatGPT or Google Bard? It's like peeling an onion, trying to understand the psychology behind it, the environment. Their main question was pretty much, what things affect whether university students in Metro Manila accept and use these generative AI tools? They wanted to map it all out.
Okay, map it out. And how did they do that? What kind of research approach did they take?
They used a pretty solid quantitative method. Structural equation modeling is SEM, and also mediation analysis. Now, SEM sounds complex, but think of it like drawing a map of influences. It's a statistical way to see how different factors connect and affect each other, like a flow chart showing which connections are strong, which are weak. They use this on survey data they got from a bunch of university students and let them go beyond just seeing correlations and look for deeper links, maybe even causal ones.
Right. Now, this is where, for me anyway, it got really interesting because the study found some things that were genuinely unexpected, things that kind of challenged the usual thinking about adopting new tech. The first big one that jumped out was about perceived usefulness. What was the surprise there?
Yeah, that was a big one. Usually in tech adoption studies, perceived usefulness is like the heavyweight champion. It's almost always a top predictor. The logic is simple, right? If you think it's useful, you'll probably use it. But this study, it found that for these Filipino university students, perceived usefulness just didn't significantly impact their intention to use AI tools, their actual likelihood of using them. That's genuinely surprising. It really turns a common assumption on its head.
Wow, yeah, that really does fly in the face of what you'd expect. So if it's not just about thinking the AI tool is useful, what does that mean for educators trying to integrate these things?
It means they need to shift their focus, really. What this suggests is, unless these AI tools are smoothly woven into how students already learn, in ways that feel natural and genuinely helpful during their studies, students might just hesitate. Even if they agree, yeah, conceptually, AI could be useful. Think about it. If an AI tool feels like an extra task, something that complicates how they write a paper or study for an exam, instead of making it easier, they'll likely stick with what they know. So the key takeaway for educators is pretty clear. Make sure the AI tools are easy to use, make sure they genuinely enhance learning, and crucially, make sure they clearly align with course outcomes. It's not enough for students to just know AI can be useful in theory. They need to feel it, experience it directly in their learning, smoothly.
That's such an important distinction. If it feels like extra work, even the best tool might just gather digital dust. Okay, so that was one surprise. But there was another twist, wasn't there? Something about AI for social good.
Yes, another finding that kind of goes against the grain. The study showed that AI for social good did not significantly influence students' behavioral intention to use AI. This is interesting because a lot of other research, often international, suggests people are sometimes motivated by technologies that seem to help society. But here, at least for driving immediate use, it seems like personal direct benefit maybe outweighed the broader altruistic angle.
Huh. So if the potential for social good isn't the immediate motivator, why might that be? And does that mean the whole AI for good idea isn't important?
Oh, not at all irrelevant. That's the nuance here. This specific finding, it might just show a disconnect, between the big, abstract ideas, AI solving world hunger or climate change, and a student's immediate reality, their deadlines, their grades, their job prospects. If using AI for some big societal cause feels too far removed from their daily life and goals, it might not push them to start using it right now. But, and this is really important, even though it didn't drive immediate use, the study found that AI for social good did positively impact AI readiness. So it plays a longer-term role. It helps shape their general openness to AI, builds a kind of foundational acceptance over time. Think of it like planting a seed. It might not make them use the tool today, but it fosters a mindset that's more receptive down the line. So for educators, maybe the goal is to bridge that gap, to explicitly link societal benefits to students' academic and career aspirations, make it feel more concrete, more relevant to their future, show how their skills with AI could actually contribute.
Okay, that makes sense. So perceived usefulness isn't the main trigger for immediate action, and AI for social good is more of a background influence building readiness. So what did the study find truly motivates students to jump in and start using AI right now? What were the core drivers?
They really zeroed in on two key things that did significantly predict use. First one, attitude towards AI. Just their general feeling about it, their mindset. If students had a positive attitude, saw AI favorably, they were much more likely to intend to use it.
So it's about how they feel about it, shifting their perspective from maybe fear or confusion to something more positive.
Exactly. It really underscores how important it is to cultivate a constructive narrative around AI. That means showing success stories, highlighting how it can help with efficiency or make learning more personal, and also, importantly, addressing the ethical worries head on. Being open about it. It's about shaping that positive perception, not just giving them the tech. And the second big driver, that was the perceived relevance of AI to students' academic and personal lives. This had a really strong positive influence on their intention. When students could see how AI was directly applicable to their studies, maybe their future career, even just daily tasks, they were much more likely to engage. They saw the personal why.
Right. That feels very intuitive. If you can see exactly how this tool helps you write that essay better or prep for an interview or just manage your schedule, that's a real motivator, personal impact. Precisely. And this all ties into a really crucial finding about readiness itself. It's not just some vague idea. The study found that both AI for social good and that AI relevance we just talked about, they both positively influence students' readiness to use AI tools. So remember how AI for social good didn't directly drive intention? Well, it does help build that underlying readiness. And here's the kicker. Readiness, in turn, had a strong, direct relationship with behavioral intention. So building up that readiness is absolutely critical for getting students to actually use the tools.
Okay, so it's like a chain reaction. Relevance and a sense of social good build the foundation of readiness. And that readiness then makes them willing to actually engage and use the AI.
Got it.
So what does this mean practically? What should educators be doing? Well, it translates pretty directly into actions. Educators need to prioritize the development of digital competencies. Give students those core skills so they feel comfortable in digital spaces. They also absolutely need to provide hands-on experience with AI tools. Let students play with them, learn by doing, make them part of actual coursework. And finally, encourage learner autonomy. Empower students, give them the skills, let them experiment, and help them feel like they're in control of using these tools for their own learning. Foster that sense of ownership. It's kind of like, learning to swim. You don't just talk about swimming. You get them in the water, guide them, let them practice until they can do it themselves. AI readiness needs that kind of hands-on, supportive approach.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the big message here seems to be that getting AI right in education isn't just about buying the fanciest software. It's about a much deeper integration, thinking hard about the student's viewpoint, how they see the benefits, and their overall mindset.
And that really brings up a fundamental question, doesn't it? For the Philippines, but really for any education system trying to adapt. What does hitting that SDG 4 target quality education in the digital era actually demand? The article is pretty clear. It's way more than just access to AI. It demands student integration, making AI part of the learning process, not just an add-on. It needs supportive infrastructure. And that means more than just Wi-Fi. It means training for teachers, tech support, and crucially, a clear alignment between technology and student needs, making sure the AI actually helps them learn and grow. So for higher education in the Philippines, the call is to move beyond just investing in the basic tech infrastructure. They need to focus on creating learning environments that nurture digital skills, curiosity, and responsible innovation. It's about building an ecosystem where students aren't just passive users, but are ready, willing, and able to really engage with AI effectively, to become creators, critical thinkers. As AI keeps reshaping everything, putting student readiness and their actual engagement front and center in policy and practice, well, it has to be the priority. It's about preparing a generation that's adaptable and critically engaged.
Wow. Okay, so we've definitely uncovered some surprising, really important insights today about AI readiness. It seems clear that just pushing tools isn't the answer. It's much more about fostering the right attitude, highlighting personal relevance, and making sure the integration is practical and supportive. This really shifts the focus towards empowering students, making AI feel like a natural part of their toolkit, not something forced on them. So it makes you think, doesn't it? How might understanding these nuances change how we prepare, future generations or even ourselves for this AI-driven world? What steps could you, listening now, take to boost your own AI readiness in a way that's actually meaningful, beyond just knowing the names of the tools? This has been a deep dive from AI-deas, part of the Good Business podcast, hosted via the PHINMA-DLSU Center for Business and Society on their mission of business as a force for good. And just a reminder, this AI-generated deep dive was created using Notebook LM.
We'll leave you with a thought from the realm of knowledge itself. Knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied,